Why do some people keep moving forward no matter how many times they fail, while others give up after a single setback? It's not because they're smarter. It's not because they're luckier. And it's definitely not because success was handed to them. The difference lies in something most people never learn to control: their brain. Every day, your mind is being trained. The question is, who is training it? Your fears, your doubts, your habits, or your vision for the future? The truth is, success doesn't begin with what you do. It begins with how you think. Before you can change your results, you must change the way your brain responds to challenges, opportunities, and failure. Today, we're going to explore how to train your brain for success, how to build a mindset that stays focused under pressure, remains confident in uncertainty, and keeps moving forward when others stop. Because when you train your brain the right way, success stops being an accident and starts becoming a habit. Most people believe that success is determined by talent, intelligence, or luck. They look at successful individuals and assume those people were born with something special. But when you study human behavior, you discover a powerful truth: your brain follows what you repeatedly think. The thoughts you entertain every day are not just passing ideas. They are instructions. They shape your mindset, influence your decisions, control your emotions, and ultimately determine the direction of your life. Your brain is constantly learning from repetition. Every thought you think sends signals through neural pathways in your mind. When a thought is repeated often enough, those pathways become stronger. The brain begins to recognize those thoughts as familiar and important. Over time, what was once a simple thought becomes a belief, and what becomes a belief starts influencing your actions without you even realizing it. Imagine a person who constantly tells themselves, "I am not good enough." They repeat it after every mistake, every rejection, and every challenge. At first, it may seem like a harmless thought. But after weeks, months, or years of repetition, the brain begins to accept it as truth. That belief then affects confidence, performance, and decision-making. The person starts avoiding opportunities, doubting their abilities, and expecting failure before they even begin. Now imagine another person who consistently tells themselves, "I can learn, grow, and improve." They don't deny challenges. They don't pretend life is easy. But they repeatedly focus on progress instead of limitations. Over time, their brain starts looking for evidence that supports this belief. They become more resilient, more confident, and more willing to take action because their thoughts have trained their mind to expect growth rather than defeat. The brain does not always distinguish between thoughts that help you and thoughts that hurt you. It simply pays attention to what you repeat. Whatever you feed your mind consistently becomes stronger. If you repeatedly focus on fear, fear grows stronger. If you repeatedly focus on confidence, confidence grows stronger. If you repeatedly focus on excuses, excuses become automatic. If you repeatedly focus on solutions, your brain becomes skilled at finding solutions. This is why your daily mental habits matter so much. Every day, thousands of thoughts pass through your mind. Some empower you. Some weaken you. The problem is that many people never pay attention to the thoughts they repeat most often. They allow negativity, doubt, and self-criticism to run unchecked. They speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to another human being. Then they wonder why they struggle with confidence and motivation. Successful people understand that controlling their thoughts is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about intentionally choosing thoughts that move them forward. They recognize that every repeated thought is shaping the future version of themselves. They know that what they focus on consistently becomes their reality. Consider the power of repetition in everyday life. When you learn a new skill, you improve through practice. When you learn a language, repetition helps you remember words and phrases. When you exercise regularly, your muscles become stronger. The brain works in a similar way. Repeated thoughts create stronger mental patterns. The more often you think something, the easier it becomes to think it again. This is why negative thinking can become a habit. A person experiences a setback and thinks, "I always fail." The next challenge arrives, and the same thought appears automatically. Eventually, failure becomes part of their identity because they have repeated the thought so many times. They are no longer seeing reality objectively. They are viewing everything through the lens of a belief they created through repetition. The good news is that the same process can work in your favor. Positive transformation begins when you become aware of the thoughts that dominate your mind. Once you recognize them, you can start replacing destructive patterns with productive ones. Instead of saying, I can't do this, you can begin asking, how can I learn this? Instead of focusing on what is missing, you can focus on what is possible. Instead of dwelling on mistakes, you can focus on lessons. At first, new thoughts may feel uncomfortable or unnatural. That is because your brain is familiar with the old patterns. But consistency changes everything. Every time you repeat a new empowering thought, you strengthen a different pathway in your mind. With enough repetition, that thought becomes easier, more natural, and eventually automatic. Your environment also plays a significant role in shaping your thoughts. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, and the conversations you engage in all influence what your brain repeats. If you surround yourself with negativity, your mind will absorb negativity. If you surround yourself with growth-oriented ideas, your mind will begin thinking differently. The brain is always listening, always learning, and always adapting to repeated input. Many people wait for confidence before taking action. But confidence often comes after repeated thoughts and repeated actions. When you consistently tell yourself that growth is possible and back that belief with action, your brain starts building evidence to support that mindset. Each small victory reinforces the belief that you are capable. Each challenge overcome strengthens your mental resilience. Each positive thought, repeated with consistency, contributes to a stronger and more successful mindset. The quality of your life is heavily influenced by the quality of the thoughts you repeat every day. Your brain follows what you repeatedly think, whether those thoughts are helping you move forward or holding you back. Every belief, habit, attitude, and decision begins as a thought that was repeated often enough to become part of who you are. The thoughts you choose today are training the brain you will live with tomorrow. One of the biggest obstacles standing between people and success is not a lack of opportunity, resources, or talent. It is the beliefs they carry about themselves. Every person has an internal story that shapes how they see the world and how they see their own potential. Some of those beliefs push them forward, while others quietly hold them back. The challenge is that many limiting beliefs operate in the background of the mind, influencing decisions and behavior without being questioned. A limiting belief is an idea that convinces you that you are less capable than you truly are. It is a mental barrier created by past experiences, failures, criticism, fear, or self-doubt. These beliefs often sound like, I'm not smart enough, I'm too old to start, success is for other people, I don't have what it takes, or I've always been this way. When repeated often enough, these thoughts become accepted as facts, even when there is little evidence to support them. The brain is powerful, but it is also highly influenced by what it believes to be true. If you believe you cannot succeed, your mind will begin searching for evidence to support that belief. You will notice obstacles more than opportunities. You will focus on reasons why something might fail rather than reasons it might work. You may hesitate to take risks, avoid challenges, and give up more easily when difficulties arise. The belief creates a filter through which you interpret every situation. Many limiting beliefs begin during childhood. A teacher's comment, a parent's criticism, a painful failure, or a difficult experience can leave a lasting impression. Over time, a single event can evolve into a broad conclusion about who you are. A child who struggles with one subject in school may start believing they are not intelligent. Someone who experiences rejection may begin believing they are unworthy. These conclusions become part of their identity, even though they are based on isolated moments rather than objective truth. The problem with limiting beliefs is that they often feel real. They become familiar. They become part of the way you think. Because they have been repeated for so long, you stop questioning them. Instead of seeing them as opinions, you treat them as facts. The mind becomes trapped inside assumptions that restrict growth and potential. Empowering beliefs work differently. They do not ignore reality or deny challenges. Instead, they create a mindset that supports growth, learning, and resilience. An empowering belief sounds like, I can improve with effort. Every skill can be developed. Challenges help me grow. Mistakes are opportunities to learn. And my future is not limited by my past. These beliefs encourage action rather than hesitation. They inspire persistence rather than surrender. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is often not intelligence or talent. It is the beliefs that guide their actions. Two individuals can face the same challenge and produce completely different outcomes because they interpret the situation differently. One person sees an obstacle and thinks, I can't do this. The other sees the same obstacle and thinks, this will be difficult. but I can figure it out. The challenge is identical, but the belief system changes the response. Replacing limiting beliefs begins with awareness. You must identify the thoughts that repeatedly appear when you face uncertainty or difficulty. Pay attention to the excuses, doubts, and assumptions that enter your mind. Notice the statements you make about yourself. Many people discover that they are carrying beliefs that have never been examined. They have accepted ideas about themselves simply because they have thought them for years. Once a limiting belief is identified, it must be challenged. Ask yourself whether the belief is actually true. Look for evidence that contradicts it. If you believe you are not capable, consider the challenges you have already overcome. If you believe you cannot learn new skills, think about the countless things you have learned throughout your life. Most limiting beliefs begin to lose their power when they are examined logically. The next step is replacing old beliefs with stronger alternatives. This does not mean repeating unrealistic statements that you do not believe. It means choosing beliefs that are both empowering and grounded in possibility. Instead of saying, "I will never fail," you can say, "Failure is part of learning." Instead of saying, "I'm not talented enough," you can say, "Skills improve through practice." These new beliefs create a healthier and more productive mental framework. Repetition plays a critical role in this process. Just as limiting beliefs were formed through repeated thoughts, empowering beliefs are strengthened through consistent repetition. The brain learns through exposure and practice. But the more often you think, speak, and act in alignment with a positive belief, the stronger that belief becomes. Over time, new mental patterns begin replacing old ones. Actions are equally important. Beliefs become stronger when supported by experience. Every time you take action despite fear, you prove that fear does not control you. Every time you learn a new skill, you challenge the belief that you cannot improve. Every time you persist through difficulty, you reinforce the belief that you are resilient. Small actions create evidence, and evidence strengthens belief. The people around you also influence your belief system. Negative environments often reinforce limiting beliefs. Constant criticism, pessimism, and discouragement can make self-doubt grow stronger. Positive environments encourage growth and possibility. Spending time with people who believe in development, learning, and persistence can reshape the way you think about yourself and your future. Many of the limitations people experience in life are not physical limitations. They are mental limitations created by beliefs that no longer serve them. A person may possess incredible potential while remaining trapped by assumptions formed years ago. When those assumptions are challenged and replaced, new opportunities become visible. New possibilities emerge. Confidence grows because the mind is no longer focused on restrictions but on growth and capability. Every achievement begins with a belief that something is possible. Before any goal is accomplished, before any dream becomes reality, there is a decision to reject limitations and embrace possibility. The beliefs you choose today influence the actions you take tomorrow, the opportunities you pursue, and the future you create for yourself. One of the greatest misconceptions about success is the belief that motivation is the key to achieving goals. People often wait until they feel inspired before they take action. They wait for the perfect mood, the perfect moment, or the perfect burst of energy. They believe that successful people are constantly motivated, constantly excited, and constantly ready to work. The reality is very different. Success is rarely built on motivation alone. It is built on discipline. Motivation is an emotion. Like every emotion, it comes and goes. Some days you feel energized and ready to conquer challenges. Other days you feel tired, distracted, or discouraged. If your actions depend entirely on motivation, your progress will always be inconsistent. You will work hard when you feel inspired and stop when you don't. Goals become difficult to achieve because your commitment rises and falls with your emotions. Discipline operates differently. Discipline is the ability to take action regardless of how you feel. It is choosing to do what needs to be done even when excitement is absent. It is following through on commitments when nobody is watching. While motivation depends on emotion, discipline depends on decision. Motivation asks, "Do I feel like doing this today?" Discipline asks, "What needs to be done today?" Think about athletes who train at the highest level. They do not wake up every morning filled with enthusiasm. There are days when they are exhausted, frustrated, or unmotivated. Yet they continue training because they understand that consistency produces results. Their success is not built on occasional bursts of motivation. It is built on disciplined action repeated over long periods of time. The same principle applies to every area of life. Whether you want to improve your health, build a business, develop a skill, or achieve personal goals, discipline is what keeps you moving forward when motivation disappears. The people who achieve extraordinary results are often not the most motivated. They are the most consistent. Many people start strong. They feel excited about a new goal and immediately take action. For a few days or weeks, they work hard and remain focused. Then the excitement fades. Challenges appear. Progress slows down. The goal becomes less glamorous than it seemed in the beginning. At this point, motivation begins to weaken. Without discipline, many people quit. They mistake temporary discomfort for a sign that they should stop. Discipline teaches a different lesson. It teaches that progress often requires continuing even when the process becomes difficult. It recognizes that meaningful achievements are usually the result of small actions repeated consistently over time. Discipline understands that success is not created in a single day. It is created through daily habits and repeated effort.